Hello, welcome to the CADLink demo video. My name is Hassan Ahmed and I'm a sales engineer here at QBuild Software. QBuild is the industry leader in integrating engineering software to ERP, providing customer-centric service to over 2,000 discrete manufacturers. We partner with 50 plus engineering and ERP systems, and as an international company with offices across the globe, we are able to support our customers no matter where they are. QSuite, our comprehensive solution suite, includes CADLink, EasyX Manager, NetSuite, and more. We empower our customers with streamlined processes and significant cost savings, ensuring efficiency and accuracy every step of the way. Today, QBuild's solutions engineer, Sally D'Angelo, is here to explain how CADLink bridges the gap between Arena and Oracle NetSuite. Before we start, let's take a look at a quick overview of not implementing CADLink. As you can see from the process chart, manual data input is time-consuming and causes errors. With CADLink, you can see that this improves the process as well as reduces the time spent on manual data entry, updating and creating those items and BOMs automatically with just a click of a button. Now, let's jump into the demo. Over to you, Sally.
All right, I've got my demo environment open up here, and today we're going to walk through a demonstration of an Arena to NetSuite CADLink integration. So we'll start off on the web. So this is my web version of CADLink, which is accessed through the browser, whichever browser is your preference. I am going to exit out of this view here and go into full screen just to give you a more fuller experience of this demo environment. But again, this is accessed via the browser. The way that CADLink works is that it is a tool that helps to synchronize data between a CAD, PDM, or PLM system and NetSuite. And so in today's instance, we are running through a Arena-specific integration to NetSuite. And because this is a demo environment, you'll notice that I've got a couple different CAD, PDM, PLM systems available here, but I am going to click on this Arena. And so what this will prompt me to do is once you're ready for a bill of material to make its way over into NetSuite, you'll need to look for that specific part number that you are going to synchronize. And so this can be a top level finished good where all of its components, subassemblies, child parts will be automatically loaded in. You can search for a subassembly, you can search for a single component. Today's demo will be using a top level finished good. And you'll notice that as soon as I type in a piece of the part number that I know, it will give me a list of all those parts that follow that search criteria. One thing to note is this is an unreleased component, so it's not in an approved or released status. With that said, we can certainly add a small piece of logic to only allow users of CADLink to launch on a fully approved and released bill of material and assembly file. So something to keep in mind, it's not enabled in this environment, but it can very well be enabled. So I'll click on the part of choice. And now what CADLink is doing is it's running through a live comparison of data between everything that's in that 100 top level finished good in Arena compared to NetSuite. And once it has a chance to run through that live comparison, CADLink will open up its user interface, which is a great way to validate the information, double check your work, make sure everything looks correct before clicking on the save button, which will actually commit the data over into NetSuite. So this screen that's popped up here is the result of that comparison. And so at this point, we actually haven't saved anything into NetSuite yet. So the standard product is not a background run application. It's not constantly looking for data on a trigger such as a state change or a timely interval. It is launched by the user. And because of that, there is this user interface, which is quite valuable, especially during implementation. So this gives you that visibility on what changes you've made. It gives you peace of mind that the data that you're pushing over into NetSuite is as expected. And you can also add additional pieces of information right here on the screen. So let's run through what's being shown here. If we take a look at my number column on the left-hand side, this is a display of my parent-child relationships. my BOM structure. So I've got my top level. Again, this is a top level finished good. This is a parent assembly that contains child parts and sub-assemblies within it. I've got a couple different sub-assembly levels here, and you can see that it goes into 3 levels or 4 levels down. And so the structure is always pulled and reflected right from Arena. So the way that you've got your model designed and displayed in Arena is exactly how the parent-child relationships and the structure will be displayed and will appear here via CADLink. Now, the second thing you may have noticed are all the different colors. So we'll talk about each of these colors mean, and they each do have a significance and a scenario they are representing. Starting off with the color white. Anything that's in white, we'll take the second row as an example, is an item that presently exists in NetSuite. So this 200- part number, it's an existing NetSuite item. I've already created it as an inventory item, and you can see that here. And so this is telling me that this is an existing NetSuite item, but because it's white, it also matches up with my Arena data. So this specific part number, my data on both sides are in sync on the item level, which is great. So CADLink does not need to make any changes moving forward. Now, if I did have some discrepancies or some differences in my data, those would be highlighted in the color yellow. So on a field level, you can see I've got a description in yellow. On a bill of materials level, you can see I've got quantities in yellow here, several of them. So this indicates that there is some sort of discrepancy between my Arena data and my NetSuite information. And if I right click on this particular description field, I can see where that discrepancy lies. So my Arena PLM description is assembly 001. My NetSuite description is ASM-0001. So it's a little bit more abbreviated, more in a code format versus a full word spelt out. And so this is a chance for you to determine, which of these two make sense. And you have the ability to write back to Arena, although a lot of our customers that use a PLM system do use CADLink more as a release process, a one-directional integration versus a bi-directional integration, but that option is yours. You can certainly use the bi-directional capabilities. So in this case, you can see that I can choose to use my Arena description to drive what's in NetSuite, or I can continue to use what's already in NetSuite and leave it as is. So you, again, have that option to keep the two pieces of data separate. So you want your descriptions in Arena and in NetSuite to be different, or you want them to be synchronized and the same moving forward via the bidirectionality. Now I can also type in a new description if I wanted to revise my NetSuite description. And again, I have that option of updating my Arena description. I can modify my description on the fly. And as soon as I hit save, my updated description will make its way either into NetSuite and Arena, or just simply over into NetSuite. On a quantity level, I can right click and I can see what the difference is. So in this particular case, Arena quantity is 9, NetSuite quantity is 0. So this means that although this is an existing item record, I know that because the item itself is in white, it doesn't currently belong on this bill of materials. And so that's what CADLink's going to do, is going to insert 9 of these Arena components into NetSuite's bill of materials in order to create that complete BOM in NetSuite in accordance with my Arena design. Now, green represents brand new data. So brand new items, brand new bill of materials, anything in green is something that is completely brand new to NetSuite that we will need to create upon save. So all of these green rows, you can see a giant chunk of my BOM here is in green. This represents items that are not in NetSuite yet, that will need to be created. So you can see I've got a lot of my engineering metadata from Arena. I've got my item numbers, I've got my descriptions, BOM revisions if applicable, and things like my quantity. So those are all very engineering focused, engineering centered, that we're going to use to create these item records in NetSuite. but we'll also need to handle some of the NetSuite details specifically. So for example, item type, you can see I've got a drop-down menu here that gives me a complete list of item types that I can use. So I can set this up as an inventory item if I know I'm gonna either stock or purchase it. I can set it up as an assembly item if I think I'm going to fabricate this through a work order. So a lot of different ways to set this item up as. And another common NetSuite specific field is something like units type, also known as unit of measure, where I've got these defaults assigned, a default of each, but beyond that default, I again have a lengthy drop-down menu that I can choose from, and these options are all pulled directly from NetSuite. So it makes it very easy to choose NetSuite specific data without having to maintain a list of these options separately. One thing to note is that all of these additional columns, so item type, units type, department, weight, the list goes on. I only have a couple different examples here in my demo environment, but these are all fields that are mappable by the user. So very configurable as a tool. You're able to map any number of fields, whether they're Arena fields driving NetSuite data or just simply NetSuite only fields. And you can have a lot of flexibility as to which fields are made editable and viewable here on the screen. So a couple examples here: department, weight, class, manufacturer. And again, if there are drop-downs that are available in NetSuite, those drop-downs are made available here as well. Now, in terms of the BOM revision, I can right-click on a green revision field and I can see what the differences are. So in this case, we're creating a brand new revision. Current revision in NetSuite is null. Revision in Arena is A. If I drill into this a little bit further, I can see, exactly that there's no revision currently in NetSuite. What will take place upon save is a revision A will be created. It will have its effective start dates as of today's date. And it will not have an effective end date because it is going to be the active current revision that will be used moving forward. One thing to note is that the date can be changed and pushed out in the future. So if you're making an iteration to an existing bill of material, there is a current revision, you're making a change and creating a new rev, we are able to push this date out into the future. So let's say maybe next week. And what that means is that you can continue to use the current revision until that date switches over to the next and latest revision. Now, if the CADLink users, also the Arena users, are those responsible for defining the operational steps that a bill of materials will undergo for the fabrication process, you are able to utilize the operations tab within CADLink to do so. So essentially at this point, CADLink will not only allow you to create items, create and update bill of materials and bill of materials revisions, but we're also able to define the operational steps here through the use of the manufacturing routings. So because I am clicked on my top level, which is an existing item in NetSuite, an existing assembly item, I'm able to review the operational steps in the sequence that's already defined for this particular part. Now, if I click on a different assembly that may not have an operational sequence, I'm able to add one. So maybe in this case, I'll add just, simple 2 sequences, start off with, let's say, start off with the mill and then end off with inspection, something along those lines, setting up the work centers and the cost templates. But the better way to do this is to assign a routing template. So if I use this ASY 00002 manufacturing routing as a template, CADLink will pull in the steps predefined for that actual manufacturing routing as it appears in NetSuite, and it will load it in for you here automatically without requiring the user to choose each step manually, as well as assign the work centers and the cost templates one by one. So this is a lot faster of a way to define those manufacturing routing steps all within the same screen, rather than having to do so after the fact in NetSuite directly. A couple additional tabs here. So we've got Changes tab, which is essentially a list format of all the BOM changes taking place. So the same information that's shown on the screen on the left-hand side in the color-coded grid, but it's laid out in a more legible format. Our CAD data is a nice way to review all of the Arena properties that you've got available. So if I click through these parts, you'll notice that all of my data will change automatically in accordance with that part that I've selected. And last but not least is our Messages tab. So this is a great way to ensure that NetSuite rules and logic are always followed as a result of the CADLink process. So you'll notice I've got these 3 errors. They are related to my descriptions being empty. If I click on one of them, you'll notice that the row that error is being pulled from gets highlighted for me. And I also have a visual cue, which is this red highlighting. In addition to that, because I've got these 3 errors, my save button is currently grayed out. So I can't push this data through until I resolve these errors. And errors are always driven by your NetSuite configuration. So in my example here, the description field, it could be my purchase description, my sales description, my display name. Those are all mappable fields and they can be configured as you like within NetSuite. In my case, those fields are deemed as mandatory. And so I cannot push this data through until I fill in a value set for each of these. Another common example is character limits being exceeded. So if I've gone over my character limit for something like description, that would give me and prompt me with an error. And really, because NetSuite is so configurable to the user, which is fantastic, CADLink in turn will respect all of those rules and logic and will embed them automatically for you so that the CADLink user does not have to learn the ins and outs of how NetSuite is set up in your environment. So that way we're able to save this data over into NetSuite without having to rely on some of those rules and logic being learned throughout the process. So I'll type in, just a very generic demo description. Now you'll notice that specific error will have disappeared. I'll do the same thing here and one more time. Now you'll notice as soon as all of those errors and warnings have disappeared, I no longer have any errors being presented here. My save button is no longer grayed out and I am given the green light, thumbs up to go ahead and save this bill of materials. So that's CADLink in a nutshell. The intention is that the user is not spending a ton of time on this interface. They're quickly reviewing the data, making sure that everything appears as expected. And once they are happy with the results, they'll click on the save button, which will go ahead and save the data over into NetSuite automatically without the use of any manual clerical work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sally. And thanks everyone for watching. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any more questions or want to see a live demo of how CADLink can fit in your company, you can schedule a complimentary in-depth CADLink demonstration from a link in the video description or directly from our website. If you found this helpful, remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content. Also, don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn for more updates. Thanks for watching everyone. See you in the next one.